Mother Teresa once commented that isolation and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty. The 18-year history of the town of San Antonio La Nueva Esperanza certainly validates that statement. In 1998, 2 years after the end of the Guatemalan Civil War, a group of displaced refugees were brought to this place high in the mountains of Guatemala.
There were 410 families that were dropped on the airstrip by the helicopters, and they were given basic things to survive, some roofing and a little bit of food, and they were left.
A group of unwanted people left in this extremely isolated area. No way in, no way out, except by air. No jobs, no infrastructure, no hope. Like Mother Teresa said, the most terrible poverty. 2 years later, that started to change when Greg Walton and his wife Helen dropped out of the sky.
So when we arrived, we just basically said to them, what is their greatest need? How can we serve them? And they asked us to help start a school.
The parents' love for their children, an education, a chance for a better life than they had. That's what they wanted. In January 2001, the doors opened at that school. I should say the flaps opened at that school. They met in an old tent with 5 students.
What many people told us is, look, if you just teach them how to read and write, that's all you need, because they're isolated and they're indigenous. And we just felt that God said, no, give them a good quality education.
That they have done, and it's been a total team effort. The Waltons, the villagers, even a little help from the Guatemalan government. The old tent has been replaced by 8 classrooms housing more than 120 students. 90% of the teaching staff is former students. You can find them every morning, 7:20 sharp, having their devotions before the start of another school day. A day that consists of computers, trips to the library, and time spent in greenhouses learning to work the land. All the ingredients are there for a quality education. The challenge is keeping them there.
There's still an issue of how to sustain the school over the long term.
Earlier I mentioned the greenhouses. It's in this greenhouse they hope they found the answer to their long-term sustainability.
And this is where we started with the idea of the chili.
Chilies grown by the students. Chilies mixed with garlic, ginger, and olive oil to make one fine-tasting chili sauce, now being sold at 38 different outlets in Guatemala City. Chili sauce that will hopefully sustain the school here in the mountains and a facility in the town of Canilla that focuses on education, nutrition, and therapy. Chili sauce that provides more and more jobs to the people of this village. Chili sauce that will hopefully one day be sold outside of Guatemala. Chili sauce that brings economic stability to this isolated community. For all of this to happen, they need to produce 10,000 bottles a month. For that kind of production, they need to expand the greenhouses, and a bigger kitchen is so desperately needed.
It's not just about the economy, but it's also about teaching people how to work in excellence, giving them dignity, give them self-respect. So we're just looking for God to bless this place.
He already has in so many ways. For instance, a road has been built. Not much of a road, but good enough for a few trucks to transport the chili sauce to the city. So, is this town still considered isolated? Is it still separated from the rest of the world? Not really. Never has been. Not from the things that really matter anyway. As Romans 8:35 asks, who can separate us from the love of Christ? For Greg and Helen Walton, it's about finding a balance, teaching the people of this village to grow their economy and, more importantly, their faith.
The future will be in their hands, and that the transformation that we've been hoping and praying for in the beginning in terms of the gospel and what Jesus can do for us will be complete in their hearts.